Folks, welcome back to So Bad It's Good, presented by Betches Media. This is one of our last pop culture roundups of the year, and there is literally nothing going on in pop culture this week. I'm kidding. There is way too much because they all leave it to the very end to have all the insanity happen. So I needed a big gun. I needed a top dog, and we got one of my favorite guests of the year. He now has not just one, but two podcasts out there. You know him from the Dumpster Dive podcast, which is a deep dive into all reality, pop culture, all that good stuff. But now he is co-hosting with two other great dudes a new podcast called Good Judy's, friendship, pop culture, gay shit. Yeah, I didn't say gay. That's on the literal. I just want to make sure I didn't say.
And I
gay
approved.
shit.
I approved him to say gay shit, everyone.
Yeah. By the way, I just realized I canceled myself. Right. I'm like, have a good day, everybody. Anyways, the one and only Tom Hamlett is back with us to do the pop culture roundup. What's up, dude?
Hi, Ryan. Thank you so much for having me. It's so funny. Why is there so much happening? I feel like December is usually pretty dry in news. And are they trying to bury it under Christmas? I don't know.
Okay, well, that's actually something I wanted to talk about. Is I think there's this assumption that if you do if you do something big at Christmas, it might be forgotten about. But I kind of argue against that. Now, most of Hollywood shuts down for like 3 weeks, from a week before Christmas and then a week after New Year's. So there's a big period of time where not like the actual agencies and movie studios are like shut down for the most part. So you would think, you might be able to like slide something under the radar like they would usually slide news on a Friday afternoon. For some reason, that's a good time to release something crazy. But I disagree. I think, we're going to talk about the Blake Lively stuff, but she announced this lawsuit against Justin Baldoni for sexual harassment and trying to destroy her reputation. And I think it actually is worse at Christmas. I think more people are around on their phones. I think they're making their TikToks. I think it's even worse at Christmas time. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree because like when we go home, newsflash, Ryan is home and his.
Yeah, by the way, if you guys are watching on YouTube, you'll see all like these crosses in the background. It looks like I'm in Nosferatu or something. It's like it's my dad's office, and my mom has all these crosses and stuff like that. So that's not that's not my new place.
That's not a virtual background you two could have that he's actually sitting in front of.
Yeah, guys, if you too like this background, you can give me $5 and it's coming your way. No, yeah, I just got home to Arizona yesterday.
Oh wait. We'll talk about this off pod, but I'm flying to Arizona tomorrow. But we can talk about this.
What part of Arizona?
I'm going to Phoenix.
I'm in Gilbert, which is like 30 minutes from Phoenix, 40 minutes. Yeah.
We'll talk about more details off air. But I think everyone is like, I don't know about you, but I'm just on my phone. Like,
oh God,
on the couch while my parents watch football or while they're watching a movie that I've seen 10,000 times. Like, if anything, I'm on my phone in the comment section. Like, this is the time to be online.
It's even worse. It is even worse. And my dad was watching the Ohio State game, so I was like, I'll get really into this Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively drama. So I think it is so much worse at this time of year. And there are so many facets to this story that fascinate me, and we're going to get to that. But I just want to really quickly say what the new podcast you're doing, Good Judy's. It's already kind of like, I think, a big hit. I was looking at all the reviews. I was looking like it kind of made. What is this exactly? How did you decide to start it? And it's going to take your attention away from your other podcast, Dumpster Dive.
Yeah. So both Dumpster Dive is still existing as just the reality TV recap show that it is. Good Judy's though is hosted by me as well as my two best friends, Bradley Gibson and Dan Rosales. We all went to college together for musical theater.
Yeah, but the one dude's like in The Great Gatsby on Broadway.
Yeah, so Dan is in The Great Gatsby on Broadway, and he understudies Nick Carraway, one of the leads. And then Bradley was in. I don't know if you watched or your listeners probably watched the Partner Track. It was like a Shonda Rhimes show on Netflix that was like kind of Grey's Anatomy-esque, but instead of a hospital, it was a law firm. He's like mostly recognized from that, but he's done a lot of film and TV stuff as well as Broadway. And then there's me just hosting two podcasts. But
yeah. What's your Broadway resume, Tom? Anything?
No, but we have been best friends for like 15 years and we've been wanting to create something together. And so this was it. It's just a show about, friendship, about pop culture. We have some great guests lined up in the new year, celebrities and just people in the space that,
Oh,
no.
thanks, dude. I
know what they're
Appreciate the
talking
reach
about.
out. No,
Well,
it's great.
Ryan,
No, it's oh, is it? Oh,
we're
is it
gonna
only
start with
for?
just the gays, and then we'll reach out
Oh,
to Ryan.
so it is really just gay shit. It is
No.
just.
It's not just. It is not just. But our first guest, I don't think could be a straight man. That feels like against the premise.
Hey, everybody! Welcome to my it's a white straight dude on Good Judy's.
But you know I love you, Ryan. You know.
No. I'm giving you.
No. But for those, and also for those that are like, what does Good Judy's mean in the gay community? A lot of us call each other Judy's. It kind of spawns out of a friend of Dorothy was what the gays in the Stonewall era, when you couldn't be gay in all these bars in New York City. A lot of gay people would ask people if they were a friend of Dorothy's, and if you asked someone that and they were like, what? Then that's a straight person. So
and you knew it was Ryan.
But yeah, Ryan would have said to me, "Huh?" Actually, knowing
you,
Ryan,
by the way, I knew what friend of Dorothy, my best friend. So I was like, I was in on it. I went to more gay bars than straight bars.
You're like, yeah, I'm a friend of Dorothy, and be like, oh, okay,
word. So I mean, guys, I want you to check out this show though. I would listen to the first episode. It's good repartee. You can tell they're friends, and it's unlike a show like RHONJ where we feel like we're watching friendships form during the season for the first time. These friendships have already formed, and I think there is something so comforting listening to relationships that are already there. It does so much of the heavy lifting when you're listening to a podcast.
I've found that. I mean, Dumpster Dive, I started with my sister, and then this is with my two best friends. I think that's like a comforting place for me to be in. And I think that like me and my family, me and my friends have great kind of rapport on when we like to give each other shit. We have so many stories about each other, and that's just what the show is. So come check it out.
Yeah. It's all about, really, truly, all of this is about relationships. And that's why it's like, talking to somebody like you, it's so easy. I look forward to it. I'm like, okay, we already have a little bit of a knowledge of each other. And then it's, so many of the times when you're interviewing like a Bravo celebrity or somebody on a TV show for the first time, it's like walking this really weird high wire because you're trying to get them to warm up to you in like 3 minutes. And it's really hard.
Right. And also where I struggle with interviewing like celeb adjacent or celebrity people is that like I like to I want to just like talk about like stuff that maybe isn't going to make a headline, isn't going to promote a product. It's just like fun conversation. I think you do a great job at that. Like you create such authentic conversations with people and you connect very easily. But it's hard when the other end, they don't always want to do that. Like they're guarded because like not everyone is as nice as, well, I would hope that people think you and I are, but
well, no, these two assholes. I was thinking about
this. Amazing at what we do.
No, I always, and I want to preface this by saying like, this is not a personal slam in any way, but I always use Countess Luann as an example because she's been on the show a bunch, and she is. I've hung out with her off mic, and she's great, but she's exactly who you see on TV, and I mean that in a very complimentary way. But when somebody like me interviews her, she wants to push that cabaret, and sometimes I'm like, can we talk about what you ate earlier? Like, what did you have for breakfast? Like, it's hard to get somebody off track of what they're promoting, and that can sometimes be a little challenging because I would so much rather have a conversation where I'm talking to you. We could go anywhere right now. I mean, we're going to talk about a lot of Blake Lively and pop culture, but I like that thing where it can go anywhere. We can talk about anything and there's no limits.
Yeah, I've been listening to some of her interviews lately because she's been doing a lot of shows and they're all the same.
Well, I actually like the one with Crystal Minkoff
and Cynthia.
And Cynthia Bailey. They have a new podcast. And I thought that actually got a couple things in that I had not heard before. And I don't listen to a lot of podcasts, but I was trying to support Crystal, and I was like, oh, okay, this is good, but it is interesting because it's like somebody just going that talk show circuit back in the 90s with like Letterman and Carson and Letterman and Johnny Carson and Jay Leno and Oprah. Wait, one more thing I wanted to ask personally. You finished the New York City Marathon. Last time you were here, you were talking about training. What was that experience like? What did you finish in? What were the surprises during the race?
Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, it was the best day of my life. It was amazing. Something I was struggling with during training was like working so hard and planning so hard for like one day is like a weird thing that you don't do often in your life. I mean, and my partner and I are not married, so I haven't thought of, but I compare it to a wedding in the way that it's like you plan for a year, right? To a day that you want to be the most magical day, and sometimes it just isn't, but like you have to be okay with that. So I was like, no, I don't mean the wedding. I just mean like things go wrong. Like things will just inevitably, like something doesn't show up, something you forget something, like, and you just have to roll with that. I'm not always so good with rolling with things, so I was trying to be lax heading into the day, but the day ended up being like so much better than I could have imagined. And yeah, the big moments. Well, my finishing time was 3 hours and 38 minutes, which was like way far.
Oh my God, dude.
So much faster than I thought I would go. So I was really, really proud of that.
I did a marathon, and shocking to everybody. I did a marathon. God, it's got to be like 12 or 13 years ago. It was a lot. It was a lot longer than 3.5 hours for me.
You know what? Here's what I say though. Here's what I say. Every pace, a marathon is a struggle, a challenge, no matter what pace you're going at. The shorter your time is, you're hauling ass and you're dying for that short amount of time, right?
Yeah.
The longer you go, you have to have the mental wherewithal to be able to stay in something for longer. Like I have a friend that did it in 6 hours, and I was like, I think I would have rather hustled and done 3:30 than 6, because 6 sounds so scary to me.
So you're like, I would have rather.
No.
Sorry, you didn't hustle. Sorry,
no.
Maybe try to hustle next time.
I'm sure. I know they were hustling. I just mean I like the idea of doing one thing for 6-7 hours.
Yeah.
Staying in your, I don't know how you stay in that. Like, I don't think I could. I think I would have to, bow out at some point. Like, my brain can only handle so much of that.
What were the intrusive thoughts that you had during the race? Do you remember any?
Well, intrusive thoughts. I was positive. Like, I was all good until the end. The last 3 miles were really terrible, and I wanted to just walk.
You're like, do I really want to do this?
It was just terrible. I was like,
your point.
I was like, I've been happy for the majority of this. This is terrible. So, but I ran with a friend who was like, we certainly aren't going to stop now. So let's just keep going. But
did you see anything weird on the 26.2 miles?
I have 2 celebrity sightings. Woo! One is Bravo. One is A-list.
Wait, is Carol Radswell involved in this in any way?
Carol was not. I don't think she fits either of those anymore.
Shout out, Carol. Shout out. Yeah.
So I'll go Bravo first.
Okay.
As I'm crossing the bridge out of Greenpoint into Queens, I look to my left, and I had my name written on my shirt, and I hear this voice I recognize, and they go, "Tom, you're crushing it." And I look to my left, and it is one Carl Radke. And I literally pointed, I put my finger in his face. I go, "Carl," and he was like, "What's up?"
Wait, because I know you've covered Summer House on your show before.
Yeah.
How do you know Carl?
I don't. My name was just on my shirt.
I was like, is Carl a friend of Dorothy? Like,
oh my God. Can you? I mean, I wish. Yeah. No. My name was on my. I like ironed my name on my shirt.
Wait, so Carl was just shouting out names. I like that actually. I love that.
No, it was really sweet, and he was really funny. He was like, "What's up? Hey, you're crushing it." I'm like, bye. So that was fun.
That's insane.
Right before that, though, I saw one Julia Roberts she was a spectator, just standing in Williamsburg with a friend watching the marathon. My friend and I
full red Pretty Woman outfit. She was
full red Pretty Woman outfit. Yep. I looked identical. We made eye contact, and then we like slowly, because I ran the whole thing with a friend of mine. We literally looked at her, and then we just like slowly started to look at each other and be like, did that happen to us? So that was cool.
How long do you think Julia was out there watching runners?
I mean, I feel like you go out and watch her at least an hour or two. I'm sure she was having the time of her life. And I actually know, and then we had the self-doubt of like, was that her? And I did learn through a friend of mine who is a realtor that she has recently purchased some property out in Brooklyn. So it kind of made sense that that was probably her.
And what did you listen to on the run?
So, oh my God, I actually have a good story about that too. So I'm a massive Beyonce fan, like been a fan
By the
since I was
way,
a child.
Christmas Day, she is on Netflix on the halftime show
Yep.
of the big old I don't know what teams are
Cowboys,
playing.
Cowboys,
But
Cowboys,
okay,
Cowboys.
Cowboys. But I know Beyonce is the halftime show on
Yes.
Netflix, which is potentially bigger than the Super Bowl with Kendrick.
It's I can't wait. I'm gonna have to go hide in a room at my aunt's house in Arizona because I can't hear people's commentary during
Yeah,
the
exactly.
halftime
I don't
show.
want to hear if my sister and
Like,
brother-in-law have
I
an
don't
issue with
get
Beyonce.
it.
Yeah, like I just
No.
want to, because it's going to be kind of a whole show.
Yeah, she got it extended too. The duration is like, I don't know if you saw that. It was, I think they're typically 12 minutes or something, and she
Yeah.
got an extension. I think she's going to fill 20 minutes.
Oh, I was like 2 hours.
Oh my God, I
Like
wish.
I was like, could you imagine a full concert in the middle of a football game?
Right, right. No, so I made this playlist called Beyonce Runs a Marathon, and I curated it so like each song flowed into the next. The playlist was 2 hours and 45 minutes long, which was my like goal pace. And so I was like, this is perfect. I had it all set. Not 2 hours, sorry, 3 hours and 45
I was
minutes.
like, dude, you finished in 3:50.
No, 3 hours and 45 minutes. So I'm going, and at some point I accidentally skipped a song. And I don't know when it happened. It was just like I hit my watch or something. So I'm struggling through the last 3 miles of the marathon. And I had literally timed it. I was like, I'm going to end on a banger. Like whatever it'll be a banger. The last like 5 songs were all great. I'm like, it'll be something good. So the second to last song finishes. I have passed the 26-mile mark. I have 0.2 miles left in the race. Okay. So it's like what, like a minute, 2 minutes. And all of a sudden I realized I've hit the end of the playlist. And so now it's playing my like frequently listened songs. So the first song it plays was Tyla, her song Water.
Yeah.
So if you know the lyrics are make me sweat. Make me lose my breath, make me water. I'm literally dying of dehydration. I'm drenched in sweat. And the song is like da da da. It's
You're
like
having
so,
mirages
like,
of seeing Carl Radke and Julia Roberts to
I'm
the
like,
side.
I'm like, I wanted to cross the finish line to like a Crazy in Love, and I'm
Get me
listening to this
body,
like,
get me body.
right. I'm listening to this like mid-tempo Caribbean beat as like cross the New York City marathon finish
I'm
line.
a diva. I'm a diva. Yeah. Oh my God. That's when I did the marathon, this is what, like most of the people I listen to are now canceled. I think I had some Diddy songs on there. I had like, nobody hold me down. No, and then I had like a lot of Jay-Z, which by the way, we still don't know anything really about Jay-Z, but
We
it is
don't,
funny. But I was like, those are like songs that were like getting me pumped up. Like my playlist of that marathon meant so much to me, and all the training playlists, because there were songs that would really kind of just be like, okay, I got more in me. I got more in me, you know?
Hey, that's amazing though that you did a marathon. I think it's like 0.1% of the world has done a marathon. So
Don't wait,
like,
no, Tom, don't patronize me.
I'm not
No, no, no.
patronizing you. I'm
Oh,
trying to give
it's
you a compliment.
it's amazing you
It's a
did that.
compliment.
Oh, it's amazing you tried to hustle. It's amazing.
That's not what I'm gonna get dragged to the cup. It was like I wanted to run a marathon and Tom discouraged it.
Okay, so this has been our Tom Hamlett catch up, but let's get into some stories of the
Please.
week. And you're in New York, and that is close to Jersey. And I don't know if you have been focused on like I have, which by the way, TikTok is allegedly going away on January 19th before the inauguration on January 20th. I do not think that is going to happen at all. So I do find it, I'm finding it sad yet kind of funny that all the TikTokers are going on and going, well, I guess it's official. I gotta go. I gotta find a new job. And they're starting to like, I'm like, no, I don't think TikTok's going anywhere. But the alien drone TikTok story on TikTok is all over the place. I keep talking about it with my audience. And then Bethany Frankel has entered the chat, and she was making this past week. Bethany Frankel got on the case to try to find out what these drones actually were. And then on yesterday, she got too close. She said, I've been droning on too much. I can't do it anymore. Somebody high up told me I need to be quiet. And so Bethany Frankel silenced herself because she got too close to the truth, folks. And last night on Saturday Night Live, Bowen Yang did a weekend update piece where he played one of the drones and he name dropped Bethany. And I swear to God, I'm in Arizona right now. but I heard Bethany Frankel orgasm in the Hamptons
Oh
because
my God.
when she hears her name on a national TV show, she must have freaked out. Anyways, what is your take on the alien drones? Have you seen any of the Bethany Frankel drone commentary?
Well, one, I wish more people high up would tell Bethany to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, by the way, didn't work with Andy. Did not work with Andy. Wasn't high enough.
So whatever high level person that is, let's keep them around so they can continue to do that. Additionally, yes, she seems to not be able to keep her nose out of like anyone's business, including aliens.
Anything that is like a hot issue, Bethany's on it. If it's about the royals, she's on it. If it's about like cheap Korean face masks, she's on it. If you want to see like chicken salad, if it's bad or good, she's on it. But the alien one, I was like, okay, this is crossing over into something of my interest. And then I was like, well, and if these drones are aliens, I would legitimately be afraid of Bethany Frankel.
Well, I don't know that. Well, yes, but I don't know that they are aliens in my brain.
Yeah, I think it's government not telling us something.
It's government. One thing about the government, they're not going to tell us something. So, like, I just don't think
this is the first time in history that the government might be keeping something from us, folks. So don't worry.
I know it's like I think it's absolutely CIA adjacent. I'm sure they just heard me say that somewhere. And
Thanks for putting me on a watch list. By the way, CIA, if you're listening, 5 stars on Apple Pods and
5
Spotify.
stars, yes.
And also Dumpster Dive and Good Judy's. Thank you.
Yes, every podcast rated 5 stars. I think it's CIA. I think that I guess I heard the thing about how the drones are surveilling these like orbs, right? Have you heard that?
So the orbs, you guys, are called plasmoids. I swear to God, I know this sounds crazy. And Bethany Frankel will tell you, I think they're still up on her TikTok. She'll talk about the difference between the plasmoids and the drones. And the plasmoids look like these kind of like energy blob things.
Yeah.
And what's also interesting is the religious sector of the world has entered the chat and saying that these plasmoids are biblically accurate angels, which I've got to go back and check my Bible. And there's like a video of a lady videotaping the plasmoid and going, Jesus is king. And the plasmoid lights up. So do with that what you will, but there is a possibility, you guys, that we are close to the apocalypse and the end of day. Well, we've been saying the end of the days for like the last couple of decades, but I feel like we might be inching. I hope Beyonce gets to play before the end comes.
I think she'll be fine. I think she'll get to play. I don't think the end of days is upon us. I think that the thing about the end of days is like, I actually think we just are continuing to manifest the end of days as a society more than
it's our vision board. I mean, with everything, we truly love to hate things and we love to put negative energy out there. And then we love like this. I love to talk about it. I love to speculate about it, but it is interesting. Like we seem to be moving ourselves closer, and then just basic things like, hey man, take care of the earth. Fuck you. You're not going to tell me what to do. I am a free human. I will shit on this earth if I need to. Sorry to get deep, folks.
I mean, I think the end of days will just be the planet itself, like just exploding or like oceans flooding. Like, and I don't think orbs have anything to do with the ocean. So, I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, you're not Bethany Frankel, Tom, so please leave it to the experts right now.
Also, do you think aliens would want anything to do with our garbage planet? Oh. We are garbage.
That's what I'm. Well, like, I feel like we produce some pretty good entertainment, so maybe they're a fan of our movies and TV. And then I keep thinking about these aliens. Like, they're probably, if they're here, they're already amongst us. And my bet is, I thought it was Brittany Bateman from Salt Lake City, but I think the whole cast of Salt Lake City might all be aliens. They all might. Mary Cosby, Brittany, Meredith, Lisa, Whitney, well, maybe not Heather, but like the rest of them, I think, are already fully formed aliens.
They're like sugar water from Men in Black, all of them.
Yes, truly. I think in the 6th season, like Heather's going to find out that they're aliens. And she's like, you lied to me. You lied to I thought we were a sisterhood.
Or she like goes to slap like Whitney across the face and her head just keeps spinning around because it's like elastic or something.
Or there's like a Meredith Marks is like, you can leave. And there's a glitch. Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Wait, but by the way, we had breaking news. Are you loving this season of Salt Lake City as much as I am?
Yeah, well, of course. It's the best season of all time. It's amazing.
I keep asking people this because then I'll see the ratings and they're like good, but I know I'm not factoring in like streaming, but it's one of those things where like I feel like this is just such a glorious season of reality television that it's like I'm enjoying Beverly Hills, but not to the level, and I'm enjoying Potomac, but not to the level of Salt Lake City. Like Salt Lake City, I wish I didn't even cover it because I want to keep it for myself. Like
I feel that. I think I think that part of it is like people like really tapped into pop culture watch Salt Lake City, but like there are some casual Bravo viewers who have watched Orange County from the beginning, but they don't really like they don't check Instagram, they don't do like they just like always watch Orange County on Wednesdays, right? So like
it's like
I don't know that
for the plugged in.
Yes, that's my thought. But I think it will continue to grow in popularity. I mean, we're only at season 5, and Potomac similarly didn't become as mainstream until
amazing 5th season. I remember that's when everybody got on board. I think it's like the 3rd season is when it started getting really good, and then by the 5th season it was was the 5th season the Candace Monique season?
I think that may have been. I don't know.
Tom, regardless, we have huge news. This is like everybody's Christmas wish, and it came true.
Yep.
For our friend Brittany Bateman, or as I call her, Brittany, Jared Osman has made it Instagram official, and he wrote this with a heavily, potentially AI Photoshop picture of Brittany Bateman saying, "When an angel comes into your life that brings you happiness, peace, and love, you hold on with both hands. Introducing my beautiful girlfriend, Brittany Bateman," and then a heart emoji.
I did not know that. You just revealed that.
That was just today. He did that. He did that today.
That is so upsetting to me because you know what he really means is when an angel comes and gives me an opportunity to be on television, you say yes.
Yeah, Mary Cosby turned down my DM, and so now I have to like commit to Brittany so I can make it onto season 6 of Salt Lake City. And you know what I say? I say good. I love watching this guy go through charcuterie trays and trying to explain like his DM behavior. And I am so, she's got to be thrilled that he didn't post a picture of her in a Costco shopping cart like he did last time.
Oh, absolutely. That was mortifying. And I did have to agree with Lisa when she was like, "No, you're not official."
yeah. No, you don't understand how this works.
That is not official.
Bezos. But I'm actually just so disappointed because cameras aren't up now, because I would have loved to have seen Brittany going like, "I've got an announcement, ding, 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 ding. I've got a big announcement, ding, ding, ding." It's
crazy. The attention. I have created a new relationship with my daughter. I literally, I jumped back when that was her. It is heartbreaking. It is just an insane delivery of something so serious.
But that's why she's so good.
It's perfect.
You have that moment on the yacht in this week's episode.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like, that's a big moment. She's already chastising the ladies for not giving her the reaction she wanted. But then star of the team, Bronwyn, takes the ball and says, "Hey, what about me? I'll tell you the real deal with Todd and his iPad infidelity." And then all of a sudden, Brittany's like, "Oh shit, I'm like toast." Because like Bronwyn starts like making this beautiful speech about, wanting love and accepting what Todd can be and can't be. And all the women are like throwing in like their like, conversation about it. And Brittany's like totally left in the dust. What did you think of the Brittany announcement about Todd's alleged infidelity?
Yeah, it was tough. Tough because I can't believe Todd is cheating in general, because I think that
she said on Watch What Happens Live that it was
like
just
an emotional
texting. It was emotional, never in-person physical.
Right. Now, the way the show edited it made it not seem that way. I don't know if she said more about that. It made it seem at first glance, right? Like you were like, "Oh, he like was fully hooking up with someone." And then she clarified that after the fact. I was like shocked, but also not totally shocked. There's some obvious tension. I don't know what the tension is between the two of them, but the worst part about all of it to me was the fact that her daughter is the one that like had to tell her that he was like saying all these things to this girl. Like that is mortifying, because like
what did Gwen see on that iPad? Because she said, "My daughter Gwen, he was on his iPad and she like walked by and saw this." And I was like, was it a picture? Was it like, what did she see exactly that goes, "Oh, that's suspect"?
Well, Todd's texts are blown up so big. You know how old
Oh my God, you're so right, man. You true. You can true. If there's an older person about 60, you can read
She
what
was
they're
like in
writing.
the back seat. He was in the front seat. She could read the whole conversation as he was sliding through it.
So I wonder if he collected Starbucks mugs before the infidelity, or that was like after the infidelity. He was like, got to pick up a hobby because I can't do
I'm
iPad
gonna
infidelity.
I'm gonna go with after and the hobby, I think, because that's a. I mean, I know people that do that. My partner Brian did that, like when he had
Oh,
just moved to
cheat,
the city. But like,
cheat.
no, no, Starbucks.
Oh, collect Starbucks mugs. Yeah, I have
You're like,
my niece
attention,
collects Starbucks
attention.
mugs.
My boyfriend cheated on
Yeah,
me.
what a way to start a Christmas for your friend and his
No, no,
boyfriend.
no, no. He like has collected those in the past, but like that's something that you do like in your 20s. Like he's 65.
Yeah. Well, listen. Well, I don't want to hate on. I don't want to be ageist
That's
in that
true.
way. I feel
I'm
like
sorry. You're right.
I will be collecting Batman figurines well into my 70s and 80s, I'm sure. And I mean, I'll realize it's sad when I'm doing it, but you can't. The heart wants what the heart wants. Like you can't. He probably just it makes him feel really good about Starbucks mugs, and I give him that. I concede that to him. My thought with Bronwyn though, it's a little more desensitized, and it's a little more of just like watching so many of these shows where I was like, Bronwyn was doing so good already. Why give them this soon? Like, why not save this for the second season? Like, did she want to make already like I'm making a good impression, but I'm gonna because usually it's the housewives themselves that will bust out another housewives relationship, and they will say, "I know your husband cheated on you," and bring it out that way. She just like here you go, folks. Here you
Hmm.
go, Heather. And I thought it was such an interesting move. Like, if you're looking at the game like chess or Survivor, that I was like, wow, this put her over the top. She's given us everything this season. And is it potentially too much?
I do think the timing was off. I do think though there was I think where she was coming into that trip, I think she was really upset with him about the fact that I feel like we didn't give a lot of conversation to the fact that he just didn't go to the ER when she had all those
The dog
insane.
bites.
Yeah, her body was fucked up. Like
Yes.
that was crazy. And the fact that he didn't go because he was like, "You'll be fine." I would be pissed. Part of me wonders if that had anything to do with her. Like, she's like, "I'm so mad at this man. Like, let me just air out his dirty laundry right now." But then also, I do think she strategically should not have done that. Then I think she should have done it maybe at the reunion or maybe like top of season 2. But
Well, Todd said at Watch What Happens Live, he was in the front row because Bronwyn was on, which was like super awkward, like after that episode. And Andy asked him about the reunion. So it sounds like Todd was at the reunion. So I'm curious. It sounds like the men of Salt Lake City will be at the reunion, which, by the way, I hope Seth Marks is there because we got breaking Big Lots news over the last couple of days where Seth Marks works at Big Lots in Columbus, Ohio. It's going out of business. They're doing a going out of business liquidation sale. So go to your Big Lots. Everything's on sale right now. But Seth works for Big Lots, which is potentially, I wonder if that's why Meredith Marks was like throwing up in the bathroom that Brittany, well, she said she was. I was
Ryan,
crying because
please.
of slut shaming. Please.
Ryan, she's not throwing up because Big Lots is going out of
You know
business.
how hard it is to get a job this time, like
You're true.
in this economy?
You're right. I don't know what's up with Meredith, to be honest. I like what,
Dude, she
and
looked
I don't
like
want to
pale as
say
a
anything,
ghost
but
like
like
that morning.
I know, I believe that she was getting sick and crying, but I just, who was it that someone tweeted or not tweeted, but blue skied it, that maybe it may have been Emily Hanks. I don't know. I can't remember, but someone that we all know was saying that she was crying because she realized that she backed the wrong horse in the whole slut shaming thing because like Brittany lied about the fact that she slut shamed first and that she was upset about how she was going to come across on the show. I
I
don't know.
think that I don't even buy that for a second. I think it's something deeply personal in her actual life that she does not want to share on this show. Like, could you? I mean, I can see Lisa crying potentially about, but like Meredith, I don't know. Like that doesn't hold a lot of water for me
Yeah.
personally. Just knowing Meredith because she's able to disassociate very easily. Like I would almost think it's more relationship with her family or Seth more than any of those ladies because she can check out real quickly. And also, the throwing up part was like the fascinating part. Of like, I was not throwing up. Like, how hard are you crying that it sounds like throw up?
I know. And then also the fact that I laughed at Britney's delivery of it, being like, "Is it okay to say that you were crying? I could hear you crying last night."
Dude,
No, it's actually not. It's certainly not okay to say. But
oh my God.
go ahead.
At the last dinner, Brittany brings it up again, and Meredith shoots this look. Like I said, I was joking about this, not on Twitter, on Threads, I think, because I'm off Twitter now. And I got this if Meredith shoots you this look you saw at that dinner, you have 7 days to live. Like it's like the girl in the ring. She was just like, yes, yeah. It was like tilted head. It scared the shit out of me. Like I can't believe Brittany kept going.
Wait, I'm also just realizing I was I have to apologize to the marathon runners and the Starbucks mug collectors because I think I was so mean. But I just realized, well, Todd collects Starbucks mugs. I'm sitting here so earnestly in camera. I have started collecting these Target birds. So I really have nowhere to talk. They're holiday Target releases.
See, by the way, Tom proves like the excellent point about podcasters is we're all hypocrites and full of shit. Like we just talk.
Oh yeah, we just talk. We talk out of our asses. Yeah. So I have like 9 of these. So this is one of the holiday ones. So
wow. Yeah. By the way, you have no room to say anything about Starbucks mugs.
Certainly not. Oh my God, no.
Where did you even decide to start collecting like that? Now I'm like worried for you.
Well, no. Let's all take a deep breath.
And I want to say I'm literally sitting like in front of like 8 billion crosses right behind me. I look like I'm at the Vatican.
No, they have really Target does birds. These birds, they have like every holiday they deck them out in like a holiday outfit. And it's not like one bird. I don't like dress up this bird. Like you purchase it looking like this. And so for Christmas, I was wanting a couple of them because I used to have them, but my dog ate them because they thought they were a toy. And so my partner Brian bought me like the collector's edition of 9 of the holiday ones, and for my birthday in a big box.
Tom, are you sure they're not dog toys?
No, they're not dog toys. They
okay. I just wanted to make sure, like it might be an actual dog toy.
No, it's like the texture on it would not be good for the dog to eat, and these little things. But yeah, wow. They all have names. This one's name is Tinsel. No, say hi.
Yeah, Todd, the Todd father is listening right now, going, "Yeah, take that, you son of a bitch." Those Target dolls are creepy to correct.
I actually one person removed from Bronwyn.
Wait, like who?
So one of Brian's best friends was a bridesmaid in Bronwyn's wedding, and I'm very good friends with that friend.
Have you talked to that friend about the wedding? Because you know she had Goo Goo dolls play at her wedding.
Wait, really? I didn't know that.
Yes, she had Goo Goo dolls, and I believe she had Nelly perform at her wedding.
Okay, I have to text her about that because I had no idea. She plays it very low key.
Todd listening to Nelly at his wedding and like Goo Goo, like did they dance to like Iris or something?
I hope Nelly put a tape right under Todd's left eye.
Guys, well, no. Nelly used to wear a Band-Aid under his left eye, and like when this was like what 20 years ago or something. And I remember I thought it was super funny, and I started wearing a Band-Aid when I'd go out to a bar because I just thought it was like super funny and nobody really got it. But anyways,
I would got it.
Yeah, you got it. But are you like me with these housewives where we're kind of making fun of them, but at the same time, I would lay down my life for Meredith Marks. Like I would lay down my life. So, I've now have to like. I've gotten wind so many times now that like housewives will listen to this show, and I really
why would they listen? Yeah,
I know. I really urge against it because I just want to say like there are going to be things that we all will poke at you and make fun of you, but I want to express how dearly I love most, if not all, of these ladies.
Keep the cast the same. They need to stay on for a couple more seasons. Like we got to stay with what we have. These ladies are gold standard. Like, absolutely.
Well, speaking of keeping people on, it was announced this week by Alexis Bellino herself. Alexis Bellino revealed that she is not being asked back to the Real Housewives of Orange County. She got the call this week from Alex Baskin, the uber extraordinaire producer of Vanderpump Rules, The Valley, Beverly Hills, OC. I could go on. And she revealed this, I believe, to Carlos King, on the Going Rogue podcast, which is Rachel Levis's old podcast. And for some reason, Alexis was hosting and revealed this information on.
Wait.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alexis
Going
hosts
Rogue.
Raquel's own podcast?
I don't know if it's a one off, but remember Raquel or Rachel, the artist formerly known as Raquel, she said it's not good for my mental health anymore, which I thought was amazing. And then Rachel's publicist took it over. So I'm guessing maybe Rachel's publicist is Alexis Bellino's publicist, but Alexis hosted this past week's episode and had Carlos King on it. And she revealed this to Carlos King, and then it went to People Magazine and did the rounds. This was Thursday. I think I saw it Thursday night after I got off stage. I was doing the Jeff Lewis live show, and Shannon Bedore was there in the audience. I saw this, and I was like, damn, I wish I had known about this during the show, because I would have asked Shannon, because she was like right there in front, and we kind of interacted during the show with her a bit. And I went up to Shannon and I said, did you see this? I thought like, oh my God, I'm going to be the first one to tell Shannon that Alexis isn't coming back. And Shannon was like, oh, I know that. I know that. So I don't know when she found out, but it seems like Shannon already knew it wasn't. She was like, oh, I knew that. And I was like, oh, okay, good. Well, congrats. And then yesterday or 2 days ago, Gina Kirschenheiter posted a photo with her, Emily Simpson, Heather Dubrow, Shannon Bedore, and Tamra, like Fox Force 5. And Tamra and Heather should be like, you know, hey, you guys, I don't know if you deserve to be in that photo for how you came at Shannon. What are your thoughts about Alexis not coming back?
You know, before the season began, I was like an Alexis fan. I was like, I'm really excited for her return, because I thought she was so good on the show back in those like 4 seasons that she was on. She had so much delusion to her. It was like she was really good Housewives material. But then it was incredibly disappointed when she came on about her making the whole thing about John and like just inserting herself into something that she honestly had no business being a part of. So I quickly changed my tune on that. I think it's the right move. I think it was kind of mean, to be honest, to have her on with Shannon after it all played out on maybe production side. I don't know how that all went about, but Shannon handled it probably much better than I would have, being in that situation.
In the end, like I always say, I think this was a gift to Shannon. I mean, she suffered through it, but in a way, it helped us empathize with Shannon more, when realistically, I think we would have been more upset with her because of the crashing the car into the house. I think it made us understand, like, God, this is like shit on top of shit for Shannon, and we're like really rooted for her. So in a way, like, you know, Shannon had to suffer through it, but I feel like she won the season. And I don't know. I talked to Carlos King last week, and he was almost convincing me that Alexis needs to be back, you know? And this is because at first I was like, I thought a couple months ago, I thought, okay, yeah, I could see that, but they're going to do a John Jansen wedding season, so it's going to be more hell for Shannon. And then I was like, at the reunion, I was like, no, we don't need her back. It's too much. Like it was too much. And then Carlos was like, no, you could do this, this, and this. So, and then, you know, he obviously they made the decision to not go with Alexis. So she's done. And I'm just curious, like that picture is so not disingenuous, but it's funny because like they're all happy now and realizing they're gonna have to turn on one of the people in that photo in the next year. Like somebody's gonna have to hate somebody in that group.
Yeah, that picture bothered me because it was like Fox Force 5 was like the worst thing to happen to Beverly Hills for a little bit there.
I thought it was so cool, and I thought it was always the dorkiest thing ever.
Yeah, I'm happy to see that. Like, I don't think it's abnormal for these ladies to get together. I actually think it's nice to know that there are authentic relationships in there. But this blatantly not inviting Katie and Jen to be there, to me, was a little weird because I love Jen. I think I said this last time on here. I was like, Jen Pedranti is like one of my favorite new housewives in the recent memory.
And I really like Katie Janela too. I grew to really like her. So I think they're two great additions, and I think from what I'm hearing, they are back. And that's great, but I do not like that they were not included on that last scene where they picked back up cameras at the reunion. Yeah. I didn't love that, even though I understand that they weren't part of the initial group. I didn't like that. I didn't like they were in the photo. And I also, that just means you would imagine if the wheels are turning in like Heather's mind, Heather thinks, okay, well, I'm going to make one of them the big bad next season. And Tamara's like, I'm going to come at one of them because Shannon's too powerful right now to come after. Like, she's too much of a fan favorite to be able to come after without potentially turning the spotlight on you. Like,
Right.
we've never had a full on Tamra takedown season.
No, I don't even know. Yeah, I don't know. Tamara for me, like she should always be there, honestly, because she just
Yeah,
keeps things moving. But I don't
100%.
agree with her most of the time. But I think she should always be around, stirring things up. But
Yeah, by the way, Tamara's like, you can argue with me all you want, but she's earned her spot.
mhm.
She does like things are crazier and kookier with her there. I mean, if she wants to suffer through as much hate as she gets, that's on her because I know it helps her probably in the long run. But it is she's part of that fabric of OC now. I don't think you can argue against that. And Vicky Gunvalson, by the way, left a comment on that photo going, "So sorry I was out of town or I would have been there." So it looks like Vicky was invited to that meetup.
What if Vicky's back? What if she's the eighth housewife?
Well, you know what? I might be up for that because let's see where you go with the Tamara relationship.
Yeah, I know it is interesting that Tamara and Shannon are actually okay now. But I love Emily and Gina, but those girls will turn on them so quick. Like
Yeah.
like the
Yeah,
other
yeah.
girls, like
Oh, yeah.
Vicky, Heather, Tamara, Shannon. I think those friendships with Emily and Gina are like tread carefully would be my advice to Emily and Gina.
I got to be around Gina and Travis a little bit at this Kathy Hilton holiday party a couple weeks ago. And
Mhm.
I was just more excited to be around Travis. And like, I took everything in me to not ask about his huge balls. I was like, what are we working with down here? Like,
And
cause I
then
was
she
like,
asked him if he was a friend of Dorothy.
hey, but yeah, what are we packing down there? No, and that's what's so horrible. You watch these shows and then you think like your friend, like you can make jokes like that. And then I
Yeah.
was like, I was kind of like loose at that point. It was like at the end of the night. And then I was like,
Uh-huh.
don't do it, Ryan. Don't do it. And I called him a quiet lion. I was like, you're like a quiet lion, man. I really like how you handle yourself on the show, which I do. But I was like, all I wanted to ask was like, how about those balls,
Right. I would have been an awful influence next to you. I would have encouraged you to ask him about the
Oh,
balls if I was there.
Justin Martindale, the comedian, was with
Yes.
me, and he was just like, yeah, yeah, like, because we were just talking, because Gina was talking about real estate, and I was like, oh, I can't afford a house yet, but hopefully someday, and I'll hopefully get it from you. And she was who is she trying to tell to get a house to? Oh, it was Lauren Herbert from Access Hollywood. We were all in a conversation.
Love
and
Lauren.
oh, she's amazing. I love those girls so much.
Me too.
Okay, so OC, that's good. One more housewife thing before we move on, and it was speaking about bringing people back and production, and you were talking about production kind of having to do something bad to Shannon for the overall good of the season with bringing Alexis back.
Mhm.
Well, I think we're in the same spot with Karen Huger now with Potomac, because this week she was found guilty of the charges against her. And all of the footage, the body cam footage from the police officers, the dashboard video from the police car, all of it got released. Have you watched these videos, Tom?
Yeah, about 10 to 15 times. Yep.
What? I mean, what
It's
were
bad.
your thoughts? Like,
I mean, obviously I have a beyond zero tolerance for anyone who does that type of behavior. Like it's just
yeah,
like, and especially
yes.
twice, it's like you didn't learn your lesson. So that's leave that where it is. It's awful. Additionally, like it's crazy that she would try and make a case for herself. To be honest with you, I don't really even understand the case that she's trying to make.
I'm sure the Bravo docket has done or will do an
Yeah.
episode on this, because that was my thought as well, was like, how dare you waste the time of a jury of like, I watched those. I really was under the assumption that it wasn't that bad, because why would
Mhm.
you push for a jury trial if it like, but when I saw those videos, I was like, oh, she's drunk, like drunk.
Wrong. And the beer in the back, the empty Stella and the behind the driver's seat. I was like, oh, we're like drinking and driving. Like we're like
Oh,
drinking, capital D.
and then, I mean, so my thought, Tom, was like, as a producer next season on Potomac,
Mhm.
you love all of these people. You probably love Karen. These people have worked with her for so long. So you watch them go through their hardships, but you have a love and affinity for them. but you're also producing a show. How do you not let any of this footage not be in the next season? How do you not talk about it at the upcoming reunion, which they haven't filmed yet? I mean, I think Karen is contractually obligated to be at the reunion. She's refused really to talk about it in specifics on the show this season on Potomac, but now we got to get into it, and the other ladies will have seen this. How do you think they'll handle this?
I think I think she absolutely needs to come back to the show. If that means they pause
Absolutely.
filming while she goes to prison for 6 months, do it. People have done terrible things and been on these shows. So
Countess Luann, by the way, we are at the, I believe Christmas morning will be the 7th or 8th anniversary of her arrest, where she said she was going to unalive a cop. You know, remember the iconic moment? But look at Countess Luann now. Like, you know, you can thrive. You can pull yourself back up.
And season 9, I believe, is the season after her arrest. It was a crazy, amazing season of Houses of New York, seeing her like story and then like her holier than thou attitude about like how she's changed. It's just like we need to continue to watch how it's all going to unfold. But so I definitely don't think we should get rid of her. I think she needs to stay on, do what needs to be done for that. But it's awful, and I need the women to hold her accountable for it, because this footage is really dark. Like her Ray trying to protect her, standing next to her, being like, please stop talking. And then like when the car lit up in flames, when they were like, ma'am, your car is on fire. I'm sorry, like that doesn't happen to someone who had 2 glasses of wine.
No.
Like,
no. And we know, like you said, she's done this before. She obviously, you know, likes, you know, her liquor and has a hard time handling it. And I mean, like, also, was Ray called to the scene? Like, because he wasn't in the car with her. So it must have been close, right? To like where she lives. And he's talking to the cop saying, I don't want her to make any more statements. And she goes, I don't like him. I don't like him, to Ray.
I know.
And then in the passenger seat of the police car, is like, they call me the Grand Dame. And he's like, what? The Grand Dame, I don't know what the fuck it means. Andy Cohen calls me the Grand... Like, name drops Andy Cohen, and then they have more... I thought I was watching a fucking Blair Witch Project. It went on for like an hour and a half. We get to them getting to the police station. She can't get out of the car. Like, she's tripping on her heels. It was like, it just kept going. And then they get her inside to interview her. Not to interview, but like to, like, you know, I don't know what they fucking call it. But she's like...
yeah.
She starts saying Thomas Jefferson... I was Thomas Jefferson's concubine. And I'm
What
like,
the
wait,
hell does
what?
that mean?
What is going on? Like, it was just so, like, we're making fun of it, but like overall, it's like, I want her, like Shannon, to accept full responsibility. I'm saddened that she has not made a statement yet saying, I am fully in the wrong. This is an issue that I have to deal with. And you know, sentencing is January 29th, I believe. She's going to serve jail time. She's going to, right?
Yeah, I think she'll. I mean, it says maximum 2 years. I bet you they'll give her like 6 months or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, like, I could see it maybe end up being like 10 days, but she's going to jail.
Yeah, and you know, I think her biggest issue here though is she has a real distorted relationship with reality, and whether that we've thought it was funny for a long time, but seeing how she handled this arrest and drunk driving, like as the season plays out, it's like, wow, you like really think you are the grand dame. You think you are this like character, when in reality, like you're actually playing with life. Like these are people that could have been on the road, like real human beings, not in a television show. Like
this could be a completely different conversation where we would never see Karen in the outside world again.
Right.
Just wrong place, wrong time. And it's just so disappointing. And she, you know, I've met Karen, or the Grand Dame, a couple of times, and she does carry herself like royalty. And I buy into it every time because I love her. And I'm like, oh, I've played, Grand Dame. And I remember she was at this Us Weekly event where I was interviewing people like a couple of months ago. And, you know, they told me beforehand, they told everybody, like, you can't ask anything about the DUI. I was like, of course not. Like, I wasn't going to anyways. I'm respectful in that sense. But I was just wondering what her team of lawyers were thinking, what they advised her, like, and also, did she realize all of that footage was going to come out once the sentencing happened?
Yeah, I don't know if she realized that because I think she should have. Well, I just don't know why not plead guilty immediately. Like if she
Yes.
apparently my understanding and Bravo docket, correct me if I'm wrong, but that if she had just pled immediately, there would be no trial, therefore no jail time. She probably would have done some sort of like long-term community service or like I think there would have been other punishments at hand, but not and maybe it would stay on her record forever and all that. But like her going through this has made the stakes so much higher for herself. And I think it's just out of pride, which is so
Yeah.
confusing to me.
Well, I mean, it's confusing, but at the same time, I think that's why we also follow all of these shows, is because these ladies are individuals and they always have these quirks. And we see it sometimes in our own lives where pride will really fuck you up, man. It is sometimes a good thing and sometimes the worst quality that you can have
Mhm.
because it makes you refuse to see the reality of your situation. And it almost, I think there's this fear to look weak. And I
Yeah.
think, people confuse that with like, okay, I've got a problem. That's not weak. That's actually really strong when you admit you have a problem because then you can start fixing that problem instead of just trying to cover it up more and more and more. And it keeps rearing its ugly head. And we see it all. Like, that's the thing, too, is that now we have so many, like, we have like close to 2 decades of shows like this where we can point to, oh, like Countess Luann, oh, like this person on this season, this person on that season. And we see it time and time again. It's the same old story. We see when it works, like with Shannon accepting responsibility. And I don't think Shannon's like cured or anything like that. I think she's still got a long road ahead of her, but that's way better than what Karen's doing.
Yeah, and I think we just like for instance with Mary and her son, what they revealed, like how people were like some people thought it was salacious and my defense of that was like absolutely not. Like it was like incredibly helpful because it was like
Totally agree.
so brutally honest and revealed really what a real how that conversation should go. I thought Mary handled that so immaculately. Like that is how that conversation should go. It's a perfect example for those that are struggling with that or have family members that struggle with that. And my point here is like authenticity goes so much further than the character that these people play on these shows. Like that character that she plays can only last so long without some authenticity. And well, Shannon's being authentic about her journey, Mary and her son, but unfortunately, Karen
Well,
Huger's not.
but I even think that like there's sometimes there's aspects of myself that I'm like, oh, I don't want to share that because people will really understand like what a true loser I am. And then
Yeah.
you realize, oh, you're like, oh, well, that's just who I am. And then people usually respond well to that, but we're so conditioned to believe the opposite of that. And so I do have empathy for it, but it's just really the Mary conversation. I totally agree with you. And what's so interesting is that, we also accept that, going back and looking at Robert Jr.'s like history, just with the arrest record, Mary's known about this for a couple of years. Like she has. This was not the first time that they had a conversation, but I still thought it was incredibly brave for them to have the conversation being filmed. I thought it was
Mhm.
helpful. I thought in the end it's going to do so much good because that's such a real problem that Robert Jr. is going through, and we see how it really does affect parents. And my big question is, where the fuck is Robert Sr.? Like, when is he going to show back up? Because that's the other thing. There was a rumor going around that they split up. They picked back up cameras on Salt Lake at the end of this season. But that rumor was just like, I never, like, there's so many rumors floating out there. But wouldn't you think he would be here for like his son going to rehab?
Yeah, I actually didn't even think about that, to be honest with you. He's just been kind of like a non-entity in the show, but like this is the time to show up, as a parent,
Yeah.
and he's not there. That's a bummer. I could see them making a decision to just live separate lives. I don't think he
Yeah.
was that involved, but like I think she just has no interest in getting divorced and wants to just
Well,
continue to
yeah.
she
And there,
probably
by the
doesn't
way,
want to
I
give
didn't,
away her money.
there were sometimes I'd go like a year or two without seeing my grandpa.
Yeah. It happens with like your I see what you're saying.
Happy holidays, folks. Heyo, heyo. Sorry.
He is well, yeah, no, that is his dad and his grandpa.
Yeah.
We forget.
No, yeah, we forget. This, by the way, we're already at an hour. You can go a little bit longer.
Oh yeah, let's keep going.
Okay. So listen, the big news story that just dropped, and I want to walk through this a little bit. I will probably do a separate episode because the 80-page court document that Blake Lively filed a couple of days ago has so much juicy information. And I want to point, like, to start this story, talking about crisis PR, like talking about Karen Huger and what she might
Mhm.
need to hire to try to get some good stories out there about her while all of the negative press is out there about something she actually did. So there was this movie, you guys all know, It Ends With Us, that came out this summer, right around the same time as Deadpool and Wolverine, Blake Lively's husband, Ryan Reynolds' movie. There are so many little pieces of this story that are fascinating just from a Hollywood perspective. But what's sad about it is that this is a story written by Colleen Hoover, based on a best-selling book about DV, domestic violence. We are kind of talking about this as a Bravo audience in regards to James Kennedy and Ali Luber recently. And it's supposed to be this domestic violence story. I also want to say I have not seen this movie. I feel like I know so much about this movie, but the press tour and what is happening now has not made me want to run out. I mean, it's on Max right now, streaming, or Netflix or something. But I feel like I couldn't even watch this movie now without thinking about, like, oh, did he like fat shame her in this scene? Like, what did Justin Baldoni do in this scene? Have you been following this at all, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, I have not read It Ends With Us, nor have I seen the movie. However, I was really tuned into the press tour, and I thought the part of the press tour too that was so crazy is that they made it seem like this year's next best rom-com is coming to theaters in March, and
It's
then
fun, you guys. It's
and all these people
fun.
were like, no, like it's really dark, and
All these
it's
beautiful flowers, like, we're on the press tour, and Blake Lively was promoting her hair care product and Ryan Reynolds' liquor brand. And like, it was like they weren't talking about domestic violence. They weren't
Mhm.
talking about what the movie was actually about. Now, the movie went on, I believe, to gross like $355 million worldwide. Really, a very successful movie for a type of movie like that. Colleen Hoover has already got her next film project underway, so she is unharmed by all of this. But we were always curious what actually happened between Blake and Justin, because people noticed at the premiere that these guys weren't taking photos with each other, and all of the cast of It Ends With Us, or the majority of the cast, had unfollowed Justin Baldoni, who not only starred in the movie, but also was the director and also is the person that optioned the book a long time ago because he really believed in the story. So this dude, not a movie star, but a TV star, he's popped up in a lot of things, a very talented actor. He's been with this from the beginning. So this is his quote unquote baby, right? So I just want to try to give perspective. So something happened. Everybody, there was like this wave of hate for Blake Lively, and they started uncovering all of these past interviews. Because, by the way, if you want in 2024, if you have a goal in mind, like, I want to take this person down, you're usually going to be able to find something to
Mhm.
lead to that thesis statement. And Blake Lively, having done so many projects over the years, there was a plethora of awkward interviews, of things that she said, a wedding that took place on a plantation. There was
Yeah,
everything you could pick
not
out.
a wedding, her wedding, but yeah,
Sorry, I was trying to, allegedly. I don't want to, alleged. I don't know what I
allegedly,
need to say.
allegedly. Sorry.
So there was this wave of stories, and it seemed like the support was for Justin Baldoni, because all of a sudden, Justin Baldoni, he was actually talking about domestic violence in the press tour. Blake Lively was not, the other cast members weren't, but he was. And so, it was like, oh, this champion of women, he really seems to focus on the right thing. Now, a couple of days ago, or I guess just yesterday, this lawsuit drops against Justin Baldoni and the studio, Wayfarer Studio, which is Justin Baldoni's studio, which produced this movie with him and his producing partner. Let me find this guy's name. Jamie. What is his name? Jamie Heath. So Jamie Heath, also, I guess, Justin Baldoni's best friend. They have this studio, Wayfarer, that then brought it to Sony. Sony picked it up. So this is what happened, I guess, in this lawsuit, is alleging that Justin Baldoni, the pandemic happened. They had already been shooting. I guess there was a lot of incidents on set that made Blake Lively uncomfortable. He wanted to add more sex scenes, oral sex scenes, wanted her to get more nude at certain points. There was a birthing scene. He wanted her to be fully nude because his wife was nude when like she gave birth, and she agreed to be nude from the waist down. Like there was all of these things. And so she felt so uncomfortable that she had a meeting with Sony and with Justin and with all of these people before they got back into production after the pandemic. And Ryan Reynolds attended this meeting where they set up strict guidelines for the rest of the shoot. Allegedly, or according to this, that Blake Lively thought the rest of the shoot was difficult, but it wasn't as bad as it was before. But he would do things like like talk about his past porn addiction, talk about his sexual conquests, would talk about genitalia of other cast members. The suit alleges a lot. Now, like a month or so before the movie comes out, Justin Baldoni notices that Ryan Reynolds has blocked him on Instagram. This is how crazy, like it blocked him on Instagram.
Yep.
Like we're like Ryan Reynolds, probably he's a billionaire at this point, has blocked him on Instagram. And he reaches out to a crisis management team through the studio. And the studio is funded by a multi-billionaire who is alleged to have said on the red carpet to somebody that he would spend millions of dollars to ruin the careers of Blake Lively and, if necessary. This is alleged. So you have these text messages that were subpoenaed. I don't know why these people weren't using like Telegraph or something that couldn't be detected or subpoenaed. So like, some kind of thing to hide all of this information, but it's all out there with these crisis PR. And Justin Baldoni said, listen, I'm nervous about this. What if Blake Lively follows suit and blocks me on Instagram? She hadn't yet. She wasn't following him, but she hadn't blocked him. And so they start this campaign, and it's really fascinating if you're into Hollywood. And that's why I want to do a full episode about it, because it shows this cat and mouse game and it's the same person. The PR crisis person is the same person that also worked for Johnny Depp, so the Amber Heard stuff got brought up.
Yep.
And you saw that this wave of bad press started coming out. Now, Blake Lively she paid for research afterwards. It said when you would type in Blake Lively's name, 35% of the search results would have Justin Baldoni's name attached to it, which is wild for somebody that has worked in the industry that long to have Justin Baldoni's name right around. But Justin Baldoni started winning the PR campaign. So I think that is truly set Blake Lively off because she really got the shit kicked out of her online. And I want to point out, two things can be true at once. Blake Lively can be a very difficult person to work with. And that is not a crime. Do you know how many fucking men in Hollywood are horrendous to deal with?
Yes, say that.
Horrendous. So I want to point out that is not a crime. People work how they want to work. It's up to you if you want to work with them. But that is not a crime. So that can be true. And she could have awkward interviews in the past. But what I think is reprehensible, and what I think where Justin Baldoni totally loses it is that he confirmed or wanted this negative PR campaign to go against Blake Lively. And there are text messages between PR people saying, well, he wants us to say we can bury her, but we can't put that out there in writing because imagine if that fell into the wrong hands. So it's like but they didn't realize this would be part of the lawsuit eventually. And it's just a big old mess. And this is what we started talking about of this got released right before Christmas. WME, the agency that represents Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively, dropped Justin Baldoni as a client yesterday. So sorry to give that big monologue, but I just wanted to give the story in context. What are your thoughts about all of this?
No, thank you for breaking that all down. I think it's important everyone gets the full context. I completely agree. I think specifically for women, we want them to we identify them as one, as a monolith, right? It's like you are awful or you are amazing or you are a victim. You are while men get to be just some
messes.
of the boys messy. They're just being boys.
We get to be Vanderpump boys. Those Vanderpump boys. Oh,
exactly.
Man.
No, it is like that when Lisa Vanderpump is like, boys will be boys. It's but women cannot be, complicated.
They got to be perfect, or they got to be the perfect victim.
It really bothers me. So yeah, were some of those interviews from like previous times? Weird, yeah, a little, but like that has nothing to do with what happened on set. And like, if
And do you know how weird actors are? Like I worked with
yeah,
actors I worked at an acting studio. Do you know how weird we are? Like do you know do you know how weird some of the really good ones are? And like
mhm.
I also wanted to say this isn't in defense of Justin Baldoni at all, but I was reading through the paperwork and or the complaint, and some of this is inexcusable. Like if a woman says, I don't want to participate in this, or like he held a kiss too long with the lip. But I will say, I was in so many acting classes where like you would have to do kissing scenes. I would always try to skip those because I was so awkward and I would sweat. But like, like they would be like, oh, I really felt that. Like, did you feel that? Were you in character? Like, I just went with it. Like, we're such a weird type where I could almost see Justin rationalizing it to himself of
Yeah,
like, this is what the character would do. Like, this is what, because back in the day, like I was thinking about this movie Kramer versus Kramer with Dustin Hoffman and Meryl Streep that was in the 80s. And there are all of these stories that Dustin Hoffman almost got physical with Meryl Streep, who is playing somebody that left Dustin Hoffman's character. And Dustin Hoffman at the time was like, I was in character. I fucking hated her. I fucking hated her. Like this person left me and I had to raise our son. And so he was under this kind of acting method thing. And I would be so curious to interview Meryl Streep now about it and what she had to put up with. But it was a different time. But I just want to also just put out there, like actors are, I mean, humanity's weird, but actors, it's a special breed of weird. It's not an excuse. And especially once Blake brings that to all of the studio's attention. But I also think there's a part of it that Blake probably also went into this going, Justin Baldoni isn't a star. Like
right.
he's not my husband.
And there's something sick about him, you know, assuming all everything that she says is absolutely true. I believe victims first more than anything, right? And like
Yes.
there's something sick about him seeking out this story and then being that on set. It's just really weird. And then also like I don't think that most people have the ability to both direct and star in their own projects. Like, can we just leave one to like there's a level of like mania that comes into play when
Yes.
the director is the star of the film, and specifically men. Sorry, like I just don't need
No,
men
I mean like
directing and starring in their features, you know?
Bradley Cooper in A Star Is Born. That's the only exception I'll make because I loved his beard. I
You
love.
know,
Gotta get another look at you. Hey, hey.
that is good, but still in A Star Is Born, to me, I love that movie, but I
It's a
do think
masturbatory. Is that what you're about to say?
yes,
Yeah.
he brings a level of like, I'm
Look at me.
doing an Oscar performance. Like, watch
Yeah.
me be an
But
alcoholic.
but
Watch me.
sometimes but sometimes Tom and like sometimes I want that. Even I will say like sometimes like when Beyonce comes out, she knows she's a legend. She's
Yeah, of
bringing like
course.
sometimes you're like I want that acknowledgement of look at me up on this high wire. Look at me. And by the way, it takes you sometimes completely out of the film, but that's the interesting thing about celluloid. That's the interesting thing about
Mhm.
this. And I think Justin Baldoni obviously fought for this project for so long. I think he was probably pissed off because Blake, obviously a very talented and opinionated force herself, she signs on. Ryan Reynolds rewrote a lot of the scenes of the script. Blake got her
Well,
own edit of the film. They put these Taylor Swift songs in there, and also I want to know if Taylor helped with this complaint at all because they're
yeah.
besties, Blake and Taylor is always trying to help her friends or do the right thing for women, especially, which is fucking awesome.
Mhm.
But I do wonder in the long run, I'm already seeing some negative hit pieces about Blake because of this. And I'm like, at this point, we're fighting over social media. We're fighting, there's a dick measuring contest in some way. And you also have to take into account how powerful Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively are as a couple. And Ryan Reynolds specifically, this not even just in movies. He has advertising companies, he has a soccer team. Like the man is kind of everywhere. And I'm curious what happened. Like I think Justin Baldoni, I think his Wayfarer Studios is gonna be
It's a wrap.
done in a.
Yeah, it's the end.
I think I mean, even though I know they have a big backer, I think it's done. But like, I'm curious where this goes and what other like will he have to defend himself and how that defense will go. But by the way, if you want a good read, I'm telling you, go through this 80-page. You can find it for free online. I think I really am going to do a whole separate episode because it's so in the mind of the movie making process and how many, and then having to sell the movie, because then it's also revealed that Sony said, listen, Blake and everybody, you can't talk about domestic violence in the press. You got to say, like, make it a little more fun and make it about like how encouraging and hopeful it is. So it wasn't necessarily Blake's fault. I mean, it might be Blake's fault that she promoted her hair care, but it wasn't. That's what the edict down from the studio was. And then Justin Baldoni saw what was happening and ignored the studio and looked like a hero.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a wrap, definitely, on his production company. Him, I didn't know who he was before now, to be completely honest with you, and I'm certain there won't be much after this, but I think Ryan Reynolds' involvement, sometimes Ryan Reynolds gives me the little heebie-jeebies. I don't know about you. Like, I like him in movies, but like sometimes like the level of involvement, like the rewriting scripts, I thought is very kind of weird. Like, why are you so involved in this project? And like, I don't know. There's just,
well, see that I think he's so used to that with his projects and Deadpool, and it's like so like about commercialization with Ryan Reynolds in terms of that's like he advertises for so many projects, and I think you get to this point, but like any movie, any TV show, any reality show, it takes so much to get made. Like people don't realize it is a war. Like I'm not joking. It's a war to actually like things take decades sometimes to be made. So I also thought Justin Baldoni might have had, like we talked about with Karen Huger, this pride of like, I fought for this fucking thing. I'm not going to let anybody take it away from me. And then also trying to be this really deep actor at the same time. And also, he might just be a creep. I don't know. I'm sure we're going to find out, but this paints a damning picture of him. But people still, there was a comment in the suit from one of the PR people going, oh my God, I can't believe how well this worked. I can't believe how well this worked. It really is kind of sad, though, because it just makes you see how much people want to hate women.
Well, right. I mean, that's the big takeaway here, I think. I'm picturing all of your listeners like turning on like the Netflix fireplace, you know, pouring themselves a nice big goblet.
I forgot this was Christmas. I'm so sorry. I forgot this was Christmas.
Pouring themselves, turning the tree on, a nice goblet of Savvy Bee, printing out the 80-page document that Blake wrote, and just.
By the way, we're the kind of weirdos that would do that. We are the kind of weirdos that by the way, that's what I woke up today and I read. I was like, well, it's, and my dad's playing Christmas music in the background. Yeah. Yeah. Well, by the way, no joke, Tom, it's a page turner. It's fascinating. It's like, no, it keeps your interest. A lot of these court documents can be really flowery with the language. Right. I've read a lot now over the years because of Bravo. And this one really keeps you in there. There's a lot of text messages. There's like, I would actually buy a printed version, like a hardcover version of this.
Move over Colleen Hoover. I mean, we got a new book
now. You guys, I'll do a full episode about this. But finally, just speaking of the holidays and speaking of movies and movie stars, on Christmas Day, will you be going to see A Complete Unknown with Timothée Chalamet, or will you be going to see Nosferatu by Robert Eggers?
It's going to be Nosferatu for me.
I really want to see both. It might have to be A Complete Unknown for me because speaking of press tours, Timothée Chalamet is out there. I guess he gives the performance of a lifetime as a young Bob Dylan. But he is doing this in not a millennial, but like whatever they call, his age. What do they call his age range? What do they call him? Gen X? What is Gen?
Oh, no, he's Gen Z.
Gen Z. Okay, sorry. Yeah, Gen Z. He's out there doing podcasts with Brittany Broski. And
he actually might be borderline millennial. He's older than you think he is, actually.
And by the way, he's not growing at all. Do you ever worry about his body? Like he has that wispy.
So tall though. Yeah, he's tall.
Yeah, but he's not like he still looks like so pubescent.
Yeah, no, he's a baby. I don't think that's bad to say. You're not going to get
canceled. yeah, you son of a bitch. He is fully bescent. No, but he did Theo Vaughn's podcast. He did all of these kind of like hipster podcasts, and it, looking at all of the way he's trying to promote this Dylan movie, and then looking how they try to promote It Ends With Us, and I just thought. I guess it took him 5 years to like prepare to play Dylan. He learned how to sing and play guitar, and he was so proud of the work. And then at the end of the day, you have to do a bunch of fucking podcasts. Like Bob, we'll never go back to the time in the 60s when Dylan was there, and Dylan Dylan used to make up stories in the press. He'd be like, "Yeah, I'm from the circus. My family was from the circus." Like he would just make up things, like make up, and nobody really knew. That's why they called him kind of a complete unknown, even though that's in the Rolling Stone, song, like a Rolling Stone lyrics. There was a mystery about Bob Dylan. Like nobody really knew. And nowadays, it's got to be the biggest bummer for these stars. And like Timothy Chalamet, you can disappear into the role, but then you have to go out there and be yourself and promote
It's
it.
weird.
Yeah, you can't just be this artist. And I wonder how exhausting that must be.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I have a bit of a Bohemian Rhapsody upset me so much.
I hated that movie with a fervor.
And since then, I'm like, I kind of just don't want to go near the music biopics.
Tom,
I've heard it's good. No, I've heard it's amazing.
And by the way, I want to point out, I loved his performance as Freddie Mercury. I want to say that I just hated the film itself. The film itself, which was directed by Bryan Singer, and then they had to take his name off the project because he had a lot of weird things with underage boys, allegedly. So people don't realize Bryan Singer directed that movie. He used to direct the X-Men movies, all of that stuff. So I thought great performance, but it made it seem like, well, I've got AIDS, but I found my boyfriend gonna go play Wembley and do an iconic performance and then die. They it was
so weird. And like, I found that he wasn't, my big issue with that movie was that like, to me, he is a gay icon and he was not gay in that movie. It's like gay came at the very end where he was like, literally, he was like, oh, by the way, before I go on stage, I'm gay and I have AIDS.
What? Like, oh, we still love you. We still love you, Freddie. We still love you, buddy.
Me, like, and his relationship with were they married? The woman, his like love interest in the movie, just bothered me because it was like the whole movie was about them, and it's like this is not when I think Freddie Mercury, like that's not the relationship that I'm like I can't wait to see how that plays out.
Well, I mean, just like the new podcast, Good Judy's, you want to see the gay shit. You want to see where's the gay shit in this.
Ryan's gonna use gay shit. Ryan, use gay shit over Christmas with your family, please. I beg of you to get gay shit in somewhere.
I love that you're assuming I don't already use it. Like it's so hurtful to me in talking to you.
No, it's like, I feel like I've given you a space to use it, and you're like gay shit, gay shit, gay shit.
Gay shit. They're like, are you saying geisha? No, gay shit.
Gay shit.
Shit. No, I find that interesting about movies and the promotion of it, and like doing what we do and talking about these things, you start to see patterns and you start to see the same thing repeated again and again and again. And I really don't know what 2025 is going to have in store for all of us, you know, especially if TikTok goes down. And I hear that we have a new president incoming, so good luck, and it's gonna be a lot, and hopefully we can unite whatever that means to you. But Tom, what are you hoping for in 2025 personally?
You know, I am something that I have started to like manifest with the world being bleak, you know, like it's hard sometimes with
there's a feeling of bleak. Yeah,
there is a feeling of bleak, no matter what side of the aisle you may live on when listening to this, like there is bleakness across the board. And I'm trying to go into the new year with like, you know, laughter and joy around people that I love. And also some of the crazy shit that happens, instead of like living in the craziness of it, finding a way to like talk about it and find some laughter in some of the darkness. And like a lot of crazy shit that happens to us in life makes for a good story down the line at some point. And like that's something I've had to, you know, teach myself regardless of, with grief in my life and with other things. And it's like you can find humor in some of the darkest moments, and some of the funniest things come out of the worst outside situations, you know? And it's like, I just want to find moments to smile and to make other people smile when maybe that's not your go-to emotion. So
I think laughter over anger is going to win every time. And also
Agreed.
I do believe, I always laugh at, you know, the term protecting your peace, but at the same time, I do believe in it. And I think we both mentioned earlier, I said, I'm on Threads and Blue Sky, which are like these alternatives to Twitter. And like, I still, I guess, have a Twitter account. I didn't deactivate because I didn't really look into it, but I was not liking my own thoughts when I was on Twitter. Cause I would go there to like make fun of Housewives or say something about stupid about pop culture, like really like just base jokes that like, it was like a note, it was like a drafts folder almost. And I would then end up scrolling for a long time. And I just didn't like how negative my thoughts were becoming when I was on that app. Now, I'm not saying what anybody else should do. Like, by no means, I was like, get the fuck off Twitter. Like, and also, listen, I don't know what you think about Elon Musk and all that, but can we all at least agree those Cybertrucks are ugly as hell? Can we at least agree on that? Or do you like them, Tom? Do you
No,
like the
I'm agreeing.
Cybertrucks?
Oh my god, no! I'm
Okay,
so
okay.
sorry that you thought I looked like that. I I agree with you. I hope they'll agree with us.
Well, Kim Kardashian just bought her best friend like another cyber. I think she gets them at discount or they just gets her free. But I'm like, if my like, I would appreciate a Cybertruck from Kim Kardashian, but I would also be like, I don't want to drive this around necessarily.
You look like a douche having that in your driveway. I'm sorry.
Well, I will. No offense if you have a Cybertruck out there, but
I'm
like I
creating so
would.
many enemies today. I'm sorry.
No, no, no. I mean, I want to say like we can say if you don't. I'm not talking about the man that made the car. I
No, I just like
genuinely
the
don't like
car.
the shape of the car. Like
It
it
is
makes
so
me
ugly.
laugh. But then I'm like, is it one of those things that we'll just get used to, and then I'll think it's cool in like a year? Like I'm curious
That's
where my
true.
mind will go.
Like Crocs have been around forever, and we used to think they were terrible, and now everyone has them.
Oh, yeah, I have a pair of Crocs. Yeah, I never
See,
thought
I
that would
actually
happen.
don't, but I have some slides that are similar, but still, like,
Oh no, you have fucking Target toys. Don't even.
no. And I love my Target toys.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's amazing. So 2025, you want to create a space of joy for yourself and try to share in laughter.
Yeah.
But I also want to just speak so highly of this man that has been on here for almost an hour and a half with us. And if you want laughter, go to Dumpster Dive. Go check out Good Judy's. And when you do, leave a 5-star review. I always try to explain to people how free it is to leave a 5-star review. And if you don't like something, and I think you'll obviously like Tom's stuff, just move forward, move
Yeah,
past
move
it. There are
on.
so many great shows out there, and you're going to find the one that fits you like a warm glass of milk. Is that the way you say? Anyways, so go rate it 5 stars, leave a positive review for the holidays as Tom is enjoying Nosferatu in Phoenix. And I hope you'll come on a bunch more in 2025, dude.
Please. You are the best, and I have to give a shout out to your listeners because your listeners are so kind, and they will when I come on your show, they'll reach out and be like, "Oh my gosh, you were a delight," and now I'm listening to the show, and like
I'm
they're
so
just
proud of them.
such
Like I
nice
always love to
words.
encourage. Like that's what I'm like. Always reach out to guests. Like if you like them, reach out. You know how like it just makes you feel good to get a compliment, like to get something of like, oh, I
Oh
like your vibe.
yeah,
It really can like turn a day around. And also a real negative comment can really turn a day around in a negative way as well. So just remember that out there because you guys listening, you're part of this experience and you got a lot of power. And don't take that lightly. But anyways, we love you. We appreciate you. This is, I think, if not like the last pop culture roundup of the year. So have the best Christmas ever, even though I'll be putting out interviews this week and that Blake Lively thing. It's going to be no recaps because all the shows are on hiatus.
yes, and thank you for having me, Ryan. You're the
Thank
best.
you. Thank
You know,
you.
I love
Okay.
being here.
Bye, guys.
Bye.